The real challenge in finding the location was to find somewhere where it would be possible to survive, but not easy to survive. It was finding somewhere that had all the necessities if you knew how to find them, but that didn't offer up its bounty too easily.
To try and find the right island for this experiment, we actually searched far and wide.
We were prepared to look anywhere from the west coast of Scotland to the South Pacific. And in the end, it was on the last day of our recce trip that we looked at this island, and as soon as we saw it, it just stood out as being the perfect place for this experiment.
The island we've gone for is an island of extremes. We've deliberately chosen somewhere that on the face of it looks like paradise, but actually will be a really challenging place in which to live for 4 weeks.
For the guys to survive, we knew they were going to have to get across the whole island. They were going to have to make sure that they knew what resources were there. To circumnavigate the island, you're going to be walking a lot of the time on quite treacherous rocks. It's very easy to get cut off by the tide. They'd have to get right into the interior to see what animals they could trap or hunt, to find out what plants were growing that might give them a source of food. On the interior, you've got very, very dense forest. Walking along the trails, your feet and your legs are getting lacerated by really, really sharp thorns, creepers, vines. It's a tough environment to work in.
The island has to have a certain spread of resources so that the bloats actually have some chance of surviving for 4 weeks. So there has to be food, there has to be a water supply, and those things are absolutely critical.
When we found this island, it was towards the end of the rainy season. That time of year, the streams are actually still running. What happens though is as you get into the dry season, which we're in now, those freshwater sources tend to dry up.
So what we had to do was actually make sure we gave the contributors a water source that would last for the duration of the experiment.
What we did was to line a pool in one of the streams with a rubber liner,
and then prayed that it wasn't going to evaporate during the course of the experiment to the extent that the guys would just run out of water and have to give up.
So we've actually, with a little bit of help, managed to replicate exactly the same conditions that they would have found just a month before at the end of the rainy season.
If these guys are expecting a holiday, they are going to get a nasty surprise. On the animal front, we've got caiman crocodiles, scorpions, boa constrictor snakes.
You know, the place is absolutely alive with jellyfish, a load of nurse sharks.
Also small things like mosquitoes and sandflies. Sandflies have got a bite that's probably about 3 or 4 times as itchy as a mosquito bite. Those little bites can go septic, and before you know it, you've got a real problem. So actually, from the very kind of small animals to the bigger ones, there's a whole kind of host of dangers waiting for them.
When you approach this island, it looks like paradise. But believe me, after a day or two trying to survive on it, it feels more like hell on earth.